Hello, welcome to The Real Bit Wars. I'm Chris, and once again today we're doing something just a little bit different. It's been about a month since the Midwest Gaming Classic. You probably saw the video Mike and I did. We had a great time, we met some really cool people, and we bought a lot of games. In previous years we always try to show you the games. We actually would bring like a multi-console along to our hotel room and play them. We didn't do that this year, so I felt like all we really did was just show off our pickups and didn't really offer any insight. So now that I've had some time to go through and play this stuff, I thought maybe it would be fun to share that stuff with you. But first, I want to thank some people that have been giving shout outs to this channel. I never thought I would see that sort of thing. It's been really cool to receive such positive feedback. So first and foremost, the Game Room. He was the first person to ever say anything. He was one of the most supportive people we've had early on. So definitely, please go check out his channel. I will leave the link in the description down below for all of these. But yeah, he has been a big supporter of us for quite some time now. And since he gave me a shout out, I definitely would love to give him one. And it's kind of weird. Is that like some sort of paradox? Like he gives me a shout out, then I give him one, and so on, and so on, and so on. Anyway, very cool, laid back dude. One thing I love is not only does he collect games, but records. And that's something I can definitely relate to. Another channel I'm going to give a shout out to because he was kind enough to do it for me is Dad Racer, a man whose future's so bright he's got to wear shades.
Ah, no way. He sounds like one bodacious dude, bro.
That he is. So recently he was on this podcast called the Retro Gaming Roundtable, and in that episode everybody just kind of mentioned a channel they like, and he was kind enough to say some nice things about me, so thank you very much for that. And please go check out his channel and support that. And also the channel that he did the podcast on is called The Poor Man's Retro Game Room. So again, these links will all be there. I'll also link the video that he mentioned that I did. Watch the whole thing, it's really awesome. So since people were nice enough to do that for me, I would like to return the favor to some other people. So first and foremost, I just discovered this channel recently because he was commenting in some of my videos. That caught my attention. I started looking at his stuff, and I have been like going through every one of his videos lately. It's called Big Ol' Words. This guy has like a near complete North American NES collection. He has a ton of the PAL exclusives as well, a really nice collection of Genesis cartridges and several other consoles. And not only does he have really good taste in video games, he has good taste in music too. He's mentioned things like RTJ and Wu-Tang and whatnot, and I feel like I would have a lot in common with this guy. And his videos are short but sweet. Like he covers so much ground in just a few minutes. Like they don't need to be any longer. It's near perfection. And it's really funny too. So Big Ol' Words, check that out. And another channel that I discovered, because I feel like with all of you commenting and stuff, this sort of like broadens my YouTube social circle, so to speak. And I see people commenting and I hear these names a lot, and then I check out channels and I discover that, yeah, these people have like common interests and stuff. So this other one, again, he commented on some of my stuff, and I've been watching a lot of his videos lately. It's Drink and Games with Josh.
Ah, sweet. I love that channel. Cheers, bro.
Again, not only can I relate to the stuff he says about video games, but every episode he opens with a beer. So Drink and Games with Josh. And speaking of drinks, we got one right here. So, in my trusty Midwest Gaming Classic can cozy, I'm going to pull this out real quick so you can see it. Green Greens by Modest Brewing Co. from Minneapolis, Minnesota. So you might be able to tell here that this does have a Kirby motif. There's some other stuff going on there, but I'll let you fill in the blanks there. We're gonna crack this open and drink it right now. Oh yeah, nice and hazy there. Yeah. Citrusy and a little bit of those like floral hops going in there. Very pleasant aftertaste to it. Kind of a medium-bodied beer. Definitely check this out. Again, Modest Brewing Co. from Minneapolis, Minnesota. So again, we're going to go through all this stuff that I picked up, and I'm going to just kind of give you some of my thoughts. Moments into the convention, the very first thing I got was Miner 2049er for the Game Boy. So this is a little rough, but I love my puzzle platformers. So the controls take a ton of getting used to. It's unforgiving. There's a time limit, which there should not be. They don't have like unlimited continues or anything like you would typically see in this sort of game. But one redeeming factor is it's very short, so you will only suffer so much. Because of that, I stuck with it and I was able to beat the game, but man, oh man, it wasn't easy. Then you may recall early on day one, I did pick up 3 Master System games. So this one here, the Autofonts, definitely has that aura of like a British produced game. It's a little busy, there's kind of too much going on in the backgrounds, and it's jittery. Like every move you make, the camera wants to just shake around and follow you. Your projectiles shoot at an awkward angle, making it difficult to hit enemies. You'll take a ton of damage. But I did look it up, and this is based on a comic strip by a German comedian. And one of the other ones, Mortal Kombat. I probably enjoyed this more than I should. There's something about porting a game backwards, and it was more of a 16-bit thing on the home consoles, so to go back and put it on the 8-bit Master System is a little weird. It's only a 2-button controller, but I had a lot of fun playing this. Robocop versus Terminator. Now, I love the Genesis version of this game, and to a lesser extent the Super Nintendo one. There was one developed for the NES that was never released. I would love to get a repro of that. The controls are really floaty. It's kind of difficult to keep yourself under control, and you take a lot of unnecessary damage because of that. However, I definitely have been enjoying it. I've only gotten like maybe 3 or 4 levels deep into it so far, but it's fun. It's worth checking out. Next up, now you may have seen, we had that little segment in the video. I got this weird one-handed controller. So one thing I discovered is that it actually has an adjustable faceplate on it. You can kind of angle this back and forth to whatever position you're comfortable with. And then the 4 buttons on the back, that's actually A, B, X, and Y. It's kind of strange using like this finger. Normally on the Super Nintendo, that would be the shoulder buttons, but the shoulder buttons are actually these 2 black circle ones here, and then start and select are up there. And then these here on the bottom are actually turbo switches. So each individual button can be set to normal or turbo. And I did enjoy kind of playing around with this, seeing if I could figure out how to play certain games with it. And I'll definitely do more of it in the future, so I'm glad I picked this up. It's fun. Time for a little drink break. Look at that head retention, man. It's still going strong. This next one I actually bought from Jay of Bad Graphics Gamers. And it was funny. He said he was trying to clean this off. It has like the old rental stickers on it, like those metallic ones, and he said he went to scrape it and it just stabbed him under the fingernail, so he gave up on that. So it's a soccer game, Super Goal 2, but it's a rare soccer game. And he gave me a good deal, and he didn't even make me do anything disgusting. In years past, those dudes would like make people perform strange acts and eat disgusting foods. Or there was like one year, you might have seen in our video actually for the MGC, they tried making Mike like grab a dollar bill out of a field of mouse traps and stuff. Then next up we have that space raft. But as I've mentioned, a friend of mine is in this band, and the singer of the band, Jordan, was actually there kind of pitching this whole thing, and Mike and I got a chance to sit there and talk with him for a little while. I asked if there was going to be a sequel, and he said yeah, he would love to do a sequel. He was very modest. Like, I bought this soundtrack to go with it, and he's like, oh yeah, it turned out okay. No way, dude, it's awesome. The album is awesome. The chiptune version is fantastic. You did a wonderful job on the game and everything else. And he actually said that this has been such a fulfilling experience to program this game that he is now pursuing a degree to try and do that full time. So I'm rooting for him to succeed. This is a really cool project, and I'll be keeping my eyes open to see what kind of stuff he has in the future. Okay, so that's all the stuff for day one. We're just gonna have to wipe this clean. Smooth. So then when we got to day two, there was a bin of Super Nintendo games that I had wanted to look through, but I never got the chance to on day one because there were always just so many people crowded around it. And I thought, I hope I'm not missing out on anything good there. And just when I started looking through it finally, there was a guy from a game shop that Mike and I frequent called Game Trade in De Pere, Wisconsin, that's kind of walked up right next to us. So we were chatting with him a little bit, and the conversation barely even ends, and I get a little nudge in the side. There's a guy standing next to me, and it was Back in the Day Gamer. So we got to finally meet. That was fun. I wish we would have had more time to stop and talk. And definitely next year, buddy, we need to sit down, have a few drinks. It was nice to meet you though. And yeah, hopefully we can do that sort of thing again at the next MGC and the one after that and the one after that and everything. Yeah, he's a cool guy, man. His favorite game is Animaniacs on the Game Boy. That's what he told me at least. Hey, don't judge, you know. It's a pretty solid game. I think we can all agree on that. But anyways, then after we were done talking to Back in the Day Gamer, I went back to that bin and there were 3 games in there that I didn't have, which a bin of Super Nintendo games that people had been picking through for 2 days already. I was very surprised to find anything in there. So the first of those 3 games I got was Genghis Khan 2, which I must admit I haven't played a whole lot yet. It's one of those Koei strategy games. The reason I didn't really touch on it too much is one of the other ones was Aerobiz, which is another one of the Koei strategy games, and that one I've definitely devoted more time to. Played it for a couple of hours. Strategy games were never my thing then. They're not now either. But it's kind of a bucket list item for me. I sort of just want to beat at least one of them. This is kind of neat though. You start back in the 60s and the idea is you're going to start an airline over the course of 30 years. So I started off pretty well. I put an airport in Vancouver, then had a connecting flight to Los Angeles, and then you have to start negotiations for overseas. You need a certain size jumbo jet just to go a certain distance and everything. I definitely think I'm going to go back to this. I also have the sequel to this one. Hopefully someday I can actually beat this. But for now, I'm a pretty long way off from that. However, for the first time ever, I actually enjoyed playing a strategy game, for whatever that's worth. Then the other one, I thought this was really significant. This had a $3 price tag on it. I was dumbfounded. I couldn't tell you the last time I saw a Super Nintendo game I didn't have for $3. But it is Relief Pitcher, and as the title might suggest, this game really focuses on pitching. It's pretty ambitious in its graphic choices. They really went all out on the Mode 7. It does kind of hanker the gameplay just a little bit. And again, it focuses very heavily on the pitcher versus batter duel to the point where you don't even control your outfielders until they catch the ball. They simply run, they either catch it or they field it on the bounce or whatever, and then you can control the throw back into the infield. So definitely not a great game. It's definitely aged poorly. But yeah, for that time, I thought they were really doing some interesting things with it. Then more Super Nintendo games. Honestly, I don't quite recall exactly who I bought this from or at what point or anything. I know it was day 2, but it's Lemmings 2, The Tribes. Those games are fun. That whole series is definitely well worth your time. All right, next up, I paired these 2 up. We have Realm, which is a little rough around the edges. It looks kind of nice. It plays rather rapidly, like your gun fires quickly. It's a little confusing as to exactly where you're supposed to go and what you're supposed to do. The enemies just respawn endlessly. It's difficult to avoid taking damage. I'd say definitely avoid it. And then the other one that I had in that deal was Sonic Blast Man. 100% a Final Fight ripoff. I mean, when you look at it, it's clear as day. There are like barrels, like rusty barrels sitting in the street, the combat, the enemies. There's even like this stage that shoots fire just like completely stolen from that level in the Final Fight arcade game. Then we got Hide Live. Ooh, I'm making stuff tip over here. So this is a JRPG, which I assumed probably would be the case, but speaking of cases, that's why I bought this. Namcot. I'm aiming for this complete collection because they are in like a mini Genesis style clamshell. So these are really cool. When you get them complete too, they have stickers in here and stuff. Another one I'm really excited about. This is just tipping over like crazy here. The Famicom Mini version of Bomberman. So I'm gonna open this bad boy up and just show you what it's all about. But if you've never seen these, it's so cool how they did like a miniature scale box of the Famicom game with the Game Boy Advance cartridge inside of it. And you can actually like pull that out of the packaging and it has this clear plastic case around it and everything. These look so cool. Yeah, this is just the same first Bomberman game from the NES that I have so many different ports of. But again, it's my favorite series. I'm looking to collect and defeat every single game in that series. All right, last but not least, my final pickup of the weekend. Wait, hold on one second. Donkey Kong. So no frills here, you know what this game is. It's just weird. I kind of assumed I had it for such a long time. I would always forget whether or not there are multiple different games in this series that were released on the NES. And yeah, it slips my mind from time to time which ones I was missing. And now I believe the only one I need is Donkey Kong Jr. Math to complete that set, which is easier said than done. But yeah, you know Donkey Kong. Fun game, good port of the arcade classic. But that does it for today. Thank you very much for watching The Real Bit Wars, and tune in next time. We got more great content coming your way.